I'll give you a quick glance. And how many have not attended? Okay, so equally important. So what I'll do is that I've added few more topics for you guys. So I'll keep the previous topic very simple and very short and focus more on the new topics. Fine. This newspaper पढ़ते हैं, you will face some issues कि something is happening in Middle East, something is happening there. आज इंडिया का ये stand है, कल इंडिया का second stand है. I think only 4-5 people have problem. Otherwise, everybody is quite comfortable with the international issues. No issues. What I'll do is that those people who are quite familiar and who understand all those things, they will help me out in understanding few concepts, so that their other friends will also understand the concept in a better way. So first, moving on to the international issues, first of all, it is very important to understand how our foreign policy has changed over the years. In one way, we cannot say it's changed, we can say it has evolved over a period of time. Initially, when India got independent, the first thing the Prime Minister had in his mind was to look for the own development of the country without aligning himself to any power center, maybe US, maybe USSR. The focus was to maintain relationship with all the countries and focus completely on our own nation building, on our own economic development and socio-economic development. That is the right word. And because of this particular thing, they focused on non-alignment, like they don't want to align themselves with any of the groups. So after foreign policy, after independence, the first thing was non-alignment. So आपने कभी पढ़ा होगा कि initially we have NAM, in which few other countries are part of NAM. So there were other historical factors also, but the main battery. Also, why they opted for this non-aligned movement or non-alignment, but the main thing, basically the main economic background behind that was their focus on development and nation building, rather than focusing their energy on other aspects like aligning themselves to one or some other part of the group. During that period of time, the main focus was on idealism. When we say idealism, first thing is that there is no chance, or I can say we can't say in that way that these questions are going to be asked you directly in the interview. But you can any day you can use these words during a GD, during your interviews basically. So in the foreign policy, initially we opted for idealism. When we say idealism means we want to have very good image with every country. We don't want to interfere in their issues. We don't want to even interfere in anything when even they are hurting our country. So the focus was on to project our own good image. So that was the policy of idealism. Initially, as I mentioned, India don't want to align itself with US or USSR, but over a period of time, what happened is US always wanted India to be on his side, but as India don't want to be on anyone's side, Pakistan gradually shifted towards US, and over a period of time, it started happening that India was seen as an ally of USSR, and unintentionally, even India never wanted, India moved into the faction or the group of the USSR. So the main point come in 1970, because in 1971 we are going to have a war. The situation was like that. At that time, China and US both supported Pakistan, and India signed a friendship treaty with USSR. And at that particular moment, it was kind of clear that now India is also part of the Cold War. So India signed friendship treaty with Russia and unintentionally became part of the Cold War. So this was the situation till 1990 of the Indian foreign policy, which was the first phase we can say after the independence. The first phase is driven by idealism, where we never wanted to be part of any group, but unintentionally we became part of the group which is headed by USSR, and we never focused on like building relationship with other countries, and we focused on the idealism part only. The second phase comes up in 1990. There were few developments happened in the international level during the period of 1990. The first development was fall of USSR. When I'm saying fall of USSR, then my friends maybe tell what does it mean?
So obviously fall of integration.
That is the fall. But what is the international effect of this particular thing?
I think US like US is the only superpower country left.
Yeah, so we can say that that's the end of Cold War, de facto end of Cold War. As my friend is saying, US become the leader of the world, and at the same time, another development which happened with India during 1990 was the LPG reforms. And because of these LPG reforms, we all know we need investment from different countries. For our exports, we need different markets, and because of that, we started looking outwards. When I'm saying looking outwards means we started globalization, we started privatization, and we started liberalization. So because of these two factors, that was the second phase of Indian foreign policy, where we starting moving towards pragmatism, practicality, and looking at our own interest. So first phase is idealism, second phase is pragmatism, idealism focusing only on the good part, and second phase now looking towards the economic development, looking towards the interest of the country.
So what were LPG reforms?
I think that is covered in the economic LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization.
Okay.
LPG reforms, not that LPG gas. Now, if we divide the complete foreign policy of India, there are three major phases we can say. They are they are not completely segregated, but we can say it has evolved in that way. First phase is independence to 1990. Second phase we can say is 1990 till 2008, and now we are in kind of a third phase. Second phase I was saying in 1990 to 2008. During that period, what situations were there? First, US was again the leader of the world. At second prime, the European economies, the European world, which was before Second World War was the leader of the world, they started coming down. They started coming down in the sense they started getting dependent on US for everything. At the same time, China started rising. So you can see two things: USSR is falling and China is rising. On the second side, economy like India, they starting developing at a very fast pace. So these activities happened 2000 till 2008, and till 2008, India has come up on the international arena in such a way that India plays a very important role in the international politics, in the international strategical thing, and the international economics also. So in short, we can say by 2008, India has a, you can say India is kind of a shining all over the world at every group, maybe G20, maybe G8, is these kind of group, they want India to be part of their group. Now why I am focusing on 2000 again and again? Again, I am sure that you must guys be aware what happened in 2008. And which group was affected most out of this 2008? So again, the European countries which were falling till 2008, they ultimately fallen, you can say in that way, because their economy is in complete shutters nowadays, and their effect independently, like they are still dependent on US, but उनका जो खुद का effect है to create some impression on the international arena, that is very minimal. They can't do anything of their own. They are completely dependent on US. So in 2008 again Europe fallen down, और उसी period में एक चीज और development हुई, Russia, which after 1990 was not very much in the international scenario because of founding of new oil region. They again starting resurgent basically. So after 2008 what happens, or 2008 is kind of watershed, but the things were started happening before that also. But it started something, it initiated that thing, or you can say it has resulted in doing the things in a very fast way. US was kind of a same level. Europe started falling down, and the second side, Russia and China, they started emerging. So again, because of some international activities which we'll cover later slides, that was known as the new changing world order. It has given a statement, new changing world order. So maybe in your GDs and maybe in interviews you can use these kind of words also. In a new changing world order, role of India. So India being an emerging economy, fighting terrorism and big market, emerged as a swing state. Now again a term is used in the international affairs, that is swing state. When we say the swing state, it means that ये state जिसकी side भी होगा, जिस group की side होगा, it will swing the things in that favor. So every country wants, every group wants India to be part of their group, so that क्योंकि उसमें उसका weight है. Why India has a weight? As I mentioned, because of emerging economy, it has good big market. Every country wants to have their products in India because of our market, and we are one of the country which is fighting the terrorism. Because of all these things, we can say India is a swing state. At the same time, India has also re-evaluated their foreign policy. They have recalibrated their foreign policy, and they have moved from idealism to pragmatism or realism. Now, what does this idealism means? We already explained. Now, what does this pragmatism means? Is like looking at the practical aspects. What are the things which are in their favor? Only supporting those things which are in the interest of India, and taking the steps. अब आप देखोगे in US, India and US relations के you'll see there are number of things in which we are supporting US and US is supporting we people, but there are number of things in which we and US have difference of opinions basically. अगर हम देखते हैं in climate change thing, in internet governance, in these kind of issues, we have difference of opinion with US. But before 1990 or during Cold War, what was there? If you are part of one group, you are like okay with everything of that group. Now the policy has changed, and we have taken our stand on the basis of issues. अगर कोई issue is in our favor, like in case of terrorism, the thing is in our favor, our interest is aligned with that, so we are with US. But when it comes to internet governance, it comes to climate change, we are against US. Similarly, if we see with China also, just take an example, China. When it comes to trade, we are with China. But when it comes to issues like Pakistan, we are against China. So with every country, we have different stand. And with the help of our own things, the word which I have used is hard power and soft power. This is again a word which is used in international affairs. Hard power means you are taking some strong actions. I don't know how many guys you must be aware that last year when there was some issue with the Bhutan, we stopped the LPG supply in the sense. There was a contract which was not renewed. So that was an example of hard power. Hard power means in using force, using sanctions, using some kind of sanctions, trade sanctions, and using maybe in extreme form. Hard power also includes using force and using army also. So this is an example of hard power. When I am saying the soft power, as the name indicates, it means the most important thing is the culture out here. When we are using culture for the diplomacy thing, whenever some other country is coming to India, some other leader is coming to India, maybe a leader from Bhutan or a leader from Nepal, he is coming to some shrines of India. Modi has went to the Bhutan and Nepal, he has gone to the temples out there. Whenever there is a government or a representative coming to India from some Buddhist nation, he is going to Lumbini and these kind of areas. And the culture is one very important part of the soft power. Apart from culture, cricket diplomacy we can use sometimes. Bollywood is also used as a part of soft power, and media is also used as part of soft power. Why? Because sometimes media of two different countries, they arrange some conclave, they arrange some conference, and the basic purpose is to increase the people-to-people relationship. So, in the focus of making Indian foreign policy more realistic, more pragmatic, we are making use of both hard power and soft power. And in all these things, we can show India first policy. Like the policy, Indian policy is very simple. India first. Interest of India is supreme, and any policy or any step will be directed by the India first. So this is the changing foreign policy. Now अगर आप आगे की slides देखेंगे, उसमें whatever stand India has taken, that is driven by the fact Indian first, pragmatism and realism. I hope this thing is clear to you.
What are the examples are there for India taking a stand on hard power?
Hard power, there are number of things. Last year, as I told, in Bhutan, there was before the change of the government, Bhutan has actually aligned themselves along with China. So to counter that particular thing, India has not renewed the LPG gas supply out there, and as a result of it, there was a fall of government because of this factor only. In case of Maldives, when the president was removed, India has given accommodation in the embassy of Maldives out there. So these are the steps. But again, when I am saying hard power, it doesn't mean only that we are using it every time, but we have started focusing on this also. Maybe in the future we can use these kind of things. But still we are in that phase that we want to keep the image of idealism. We want to keep the image of a benign country, a peaceful country. So hard power is a kind of extreme example. Now focus is more on the soft power thing. If you can have a look in the SAARC nations, we are trying to build relationship with the different countries so that we can have influence on these countries. In out of all these things, I have mentioned a word of building economic dependency. This is very important thing, building economic dependency. When two countries are economically dependent on each other, then it becomes very difficult for them to make any political policy, to make any moves, to make any policy against each other, because both of their economy are independent, interdependent on each other. Just take an example of Europe. During Second World War or before that period, almost all the European countries have some kind of problem with each other. But after this Second World War, they aligned their economies, and as a result of that, they have become most peaceful zone of the world right now. In the same way, if we see example of China and US, both of these countries have number of things in which they have difference of opinions, but now both economies of both these countries are dependent on each other. Neither China and nor US, they can take any action which is detrimental to the other country. So if we will be able to build these kind of economic dependency with other countries, especially our neighbors, maybe Pakistan, maybe Sri Lanka, then it becomes very difficult for these countries to take any step, maybe helping out China or taking help from China, and which is against India basically. So the main focus is India first, pragmatism and building economic dependency. Now when we talk about foreign policy, the most important thing for we people is our neighbor nations, because if we will be able to keep good relation with these countries, then there are three different things. First, we will be able to keep influence of China at a distance. Like now what China is doing, we'll cover in the later slides also. China is trying to have their presence in these countries with twin focus. First, their own economy, and second, basically to counter India also. And I will cover like why this SAARC is important, because all the neighbors are equally important to us. First, why I keep this topic SAARC out here, because last year there was when swearing ceremony of the PM was there, then all the SAARC country chiefs have been invited to India, and then our leader have special focus on the SAARC countries. So now it is a hot topic in the sense, because it can be asked in questions why renewed the focus on the SAARC, and maybe it will be part of your GD. And now with covering of SAARC, we can cover many other topics also, like how can we improve relations with Pakistan, how can we improve relations with Sri Lanka. Answer is very simple: economic dependency. And how economic dependency is through like platform like SAARC. So just a very quick review for those people who are new to the class. SAARC formed in 1985, headquartered at Dhaka, and just few facts which you will get in your slides also. The main focus of SAARC countries is basically to solve political disputes, because most of these countries are neighbor to each other and maybe have some historical problems with each other. If they share their problems with each other, then definitely they can focus more on their socio-economic development. Most of these countries have poor socio-economic indicators, and rather than focusing on disputes with each other, if they will be able to focus, or if they will be able to get help of each other in solving their poverty issues, solving their some maybe some political issues in the sense that sometimes internal disturbance have been caused by some other country. If these kind of things will be able to resolve, then definitely they will focus more on the economic development. And to collectively self-reliance and to accelerate socio-economic development, the major initiative which have been took under SAARC was the SAFTA. SAFTA was the South Asian Free Trade Area, which is an agreement. The focus of this agreement was to have a free trade area, like any good can move from India to Pakistan, from India to Sri Lanka, without any customs duty. The main focus was to, again, building economic dependency. If they will be able to build economic dependency, definitely there will be more coordination, there will be more cooperation in different things. But it was not been able to successful because of some factors. The most important factor, which have been said by a few experts, because is non-willingness of India. India being the largest country, the most powerful country in every sense, and being the country which share border with almost all other countries, the role of India is prime. It was most important. But India has not taken it seriously because India thought if we will be able to, if there was such platform, then all other countries will gang up against India and they will be against India. So they have not tried to make it a success. But over a period of time, when China started interfering in Indian issues, China started interfering in our neighbor countries, Indian foreign policy has again moved towards the pragmatism part, and we started taking it seriously. Other things which had made it unsuccessful was first the lack of complementarity. Complementarity means almost all of the countries, they are dealing in the agri products only, maybe textile products, maybe cotton and these kind of things. So there was no such market in each other's country where they can trade these kind of products. Political issues among these countries, the historical issues have again created a problem out of which they have not been able to exchange the goods. And apart from China, Pakistan and Afghanistan, no other countries share borders with each other. So they are kind of a dependent on India for sharing of things or for the trade with each other. So because of these some factors, the trade has not been able to pick up. But the most important factor we can say is non-willingness of India. And now the resurgence in SAARC is again because India wanted to make it happen. India has again focused on the SAARC countries.
Sir,
Yes.
the headquarters of SAARC, isn't it in Kathmandu, Nepal? Secretary General Arjun Bahadur Thapa is also from Nepal and it is based in Kathmandu.
Let me check. Maybe at that time it has been formed it there. I'm not sure on this part.
It was formed in Dhaka, Jia,
Quite possible.
but now it is.
Now, as I was saying that there was the importance of SAARC. Again, the important points are countering China for trade purpose, countering terrorism. Hello. Hello, hello.
Yes.
As I told you, there's few guys who are attending the class first time.
So we need so much.
Sir,
Okay.
can you do the new topics again and these topics later?
Then we guys can do.
No, what I'll try to do is that I'll try to quickly sum up these topics and maybe I'll expand more or illustrate more on the new topics. Will that be fine? No? Fine.
But then sir, we'll have to leave early then. Start covering important topics later on.
So we have topics right now and then.
So every topic is an important topic for the people who are coming new, na?
It won't be redundant.
Majority has come for the first time also, sir.
No, actually I've arranged it that way that the problem is not covering up new topics first. The problem is basically I've arranged the topics in such a way that the new topic is aligned or dependent on the first topic. So if I'll cover those topics, it will go kind of ahead of those people who are coming in first time.
Yes.
Sorry?
The session is recorded.
I'm not going to that kind of information. Huh? I'm saying na, just I'll try to rush up with these topics and maybe I will cover up new topics in a more broader way. I'll take care of your issues also.
Sir, next time हो जाएगा sir.
Who is saying?
The guy from the outside.
Let's get, instead of wasting our time on these things. Sorry? About 8:30, 8:45. The guys who are attending the lecture first time, if at any point they will feel that we are rushing forward from this topic, they can stop me and they can want, if they want, I can explain on that particular point. So few initiatives. First thing is the education for all and for inclusive education. इससे ज़्यादा तेज नहीं बोल पाऊँगा. The focus of education is to cooperate with each other and making education available to almost all the sections of society. Another initiative which have been audible. Another initiative which have been taken apart from education was in the field of electricity. As I mentioned on that day also, I am speaking now. Come in front. So agreement, same agreement starts for SAARC market for electricity agreement. The focus was to make arrangements to have an energy grid where the surplus energy will be supplied to the energy which are deficit. Third agreement was on the motor vehicle agreement where they want to make arrangement for the free movement of trade, the free movement of people through road areas, because most of these countries share border with each other. If we have the road infrastructure, then the target which we are looking for to have good trade, that we will be able to achieve.
So ये sign हुआ है vehicle वाला?
Second thing is that they have broadly agreed upon these points and now they are working on it, like how to make it dependency bonds. That is the bottom line of the complete SAARC movement. Another important thing, like I have covered a topic of Indo-China on that day. China has taken few initiatives. China is building maritime Silk Road and these kind of things. And India has also taken few initiatives to counter China. But before understanding that particular topic, it is very important for we people to understand why each country is doing these kind of thing. So the reason behind this is again, if we talk about the activities which have been taken place in the Indian Ocean. The thing is Indian Ocean geopolitics. When I am saying the geopolitics, it means the politics, which is politics spelling is well, I know that, no issues. The reason the geopolitics is that because of the geography of Indian Ocean, the location of Indian Ocean, a number of issues, a number of things which have come up, which is in interest of one country and may not be interest of the second country. So why Indian Ocean has become so important that every major power in the world, they want to have their presence in the Indian Ocean, or by any way they want some control in the Indian Ocean. So few points on this. First, major sea routes connecting Middle East, Africa, East Asia with Europe and Americas. If you see a slide on the right hand side, you will find some major sea routes. If China want to export something to America, if China want to export something to Africa, if they want to import something from America, that is through Indian Ocean. If Middle East, whose economy depends on the export of oil, if they want to export oil, they have to be dependent on the Indian Ocean. In the same way, countries like America, India, countries like ASEAN, country Africa, if they want to export, I am talking about the Eastern Africa, if they want to export something, that can be done through the Indian Ocean. So every country, they want to have secure trade in the sense, they want to have, sorry?
You can't hear you at all.
Sorry?
We can't hear you
Let's see, they
at
can't
all.
hear you.
Okay, somebody sitting out there also. I was not aware. I think it's some other class is going on. The point is they want to secure their trade. If Saudi Arabia is exporting something, तो उसके लिए बहुत important है कि जिस route से वो trade होता है, it should be secured, because if that route is cut off or if they will not be allowed to go through export through that route, that will hurt their economy in a big way. So in the same way, China, whose economy depends on exports, if they have a secure trade, secure sea lanes of communication, the word which is used in international affairs, to secure sea lanes of communication, their economy will be hurt. At the second phase, one thing is there to secure their own economy. Second is to counter the economy of other country. If China has something and India has the same product, but if China has influence in that region, influence over that sea lane of communication, then they will be counter the trade of India. They will be able to in a position to counter the trade of India. So the economic aspect, the most important economic aspect is basically to secure that sea trains of communication, sea lanes of communication. Another thing, if we talk about the economic resources, yes, most of the Middle East countries, most of the West Asian countries, they have rich resources of oil in that region. Choke points, when I am using the word choke points, in the left hand slide you will see something which have been circled, the Gulf of Hormuz in your PPT. When you get on SIS, you will get these all in detail. There are few points, like trade can be done through few points. Last year when there was the trade sanctions on Iran, they threatened to choke one of the point, that is Gulf of Hormuz, this particular point, which will stop, or which you can say which will create some problem in the export of goods from this particular point. So another why they want influence in that particular region is also because so that these choke points, whenever they will be stopped, then they have influence on those countries so that they can allow the goods of that particular country to export from that particular area. So this thing, other resources, presence of oil, presence of gold, metallic metals, these are the resources which are present in the Indian oil. If we have a look at the population of the countries, the littoral countries of Indian Ocean, then we can say these are the most populous countries in the world. When I am saying population, it signifies economic terms a big market. So every European country, every other country, they have trade with each other. And if big markets are there, definitely they have a focus on these countries. So most of the littoral countries have big markets, and because of this point of view, they are very important from the trade purpose. These are the economic points. Apart from the economic angle, if we see from the political angle, most of these countries, they have political instability. If we have a look at the Middle East, most of the countries are monarchy. If we see some other Islamic countries, they are facing some problem of terrorism. So because of these reasons, politically it has become very important. It has become the region where terrorism is emerging, or terrorism is spreading to other parts of the world. So for a country like America or a country like the European countries, it is very important for these groups to have control in these regions, so that they can not allow, you can say in that way, or they can help in reducing the spread of terrorism from this particular area. And in the changing world scenario, in the changing global order, both US and China, they have aspiration for dominance. So they want control in these regions so that they have, they fulfill their global aspiration of dominance. At the second time, country like US, they want their influence so that they can retain their, they already are the leader, so that they can retain their supremacy in that region. So that because of this particular reason, there is a tussle between both these groups, and out of that they want to have influence in that particular region. So this Indian Ocean thing is clear? That group? So you can come closer now. Of time they want to have, they have the global superpower aspiration. Because of this thing, they are getting assertive all over the world. So when they are getting assertive, definitely they have a broader interest in the Indian Ocean region, and that is again because of their assertiveness in the Indian Ocean region, they are serving two purposes. First, the economic purpose, and second, the purpose of countering India. Out of this, they have taken few initiatives in this regard. First is the String of Pearls. String of Pearls includes developing bases in different countries with infrastructural development, and maybe using these bases later on for the military purpose also, maybe against India also. So few ports have been shown in the diagram, which have been developed by China in these particular countries for their own purpose. But India has been threatened because this